Sometimes you just need to mistake your way into success. If you're not making any mistakes, then chances are you're not pushing yourself hard enough. If there's no pressure, you're not going to grow as quickly. The more challenges you come against, the stronger you become. One of the things about trees is they actually need a time where there's no rain. They actually need a time when there's no sunlight so that they can grow appropriately. They say the best time to plant a fruit tree is in the fall. And that's because they're going to go through a season of hardship where the sun is not going to be shining as much. And since it's not going to be able to get the light it needs to grow, it begins to dig roots deeper into the ground, setting that foundation so that when the spring comes and the leaves start to come and the flowers bloom and it begins to grow fruit, it's already rooted and it has a sturdy foundation. If you have it and the roots are not developed properly, then when you get the added weight that comes from that fruit, the tree is likely to fall over. So sometimes you just got to stretch yourself and take a step that maybe you feel unready for. Just like marriage, nobody is ever ready for marriage. Nobody is ever ready for parenthood, but it's just a responsibility that when it comes upon you, you're forced to grow. So with business is very much the same way. I remember the first time I got a window cleaning customer. Before I really started my company, I had been doing Christmas lights as a side hustle, and a couple of the Christmas light customers asked me if I was a window cleaner too. And so I was honest with them. I let them know I didn't know what I was doing, but that I would give them a good deal. And so I booked the first 2 jobs, and here's what happened. I cleaned the windows. I went to pick up some just basic tools from Home Depot. It was the only place I knew to look. That's where construction guys get their tools, so why not window cleaning stuff too? So I got a 14-inch and 18-inch scrubber, and then a couple of the squeegees, I don't even know the sizes, and a bag full of the cheap microfiber towels that they had. So I get there, I start cleaning. I've got dirty shoes on, so I take my shoes off and start walking around, and I don't even have an idea of the process of where I should start, how I should go about doing the work. I just show up, and I had practiced cleaning my own windows, but my own windows were pretty clean, so most of the experience I had was on pristine, clean windows. Now I'm having to deal with windows that had not been touched in ages. So needless to say, there was a lot of difficulty that I ran into. So a house that was maybe 3,000 square feet, today I could clean it in 3 hours or so. It took me all day, 6-7 hours at least. And by the end of it, I thought I had done a good job. I get home, I get a call back the next day. Turns out I had streaks around the perimeter of every single window because of those microfiber rags I was using. Number one, I wasn't using clean ones the whole time. I was just using whatever I was using for everything else. And I saw the video of some guy detailing a window with a rag, and it looked like it was just a simple, right wipe around the frame, get each edge. And that was just what you're supposed to do. So I did that, and turned out that I just dragged lint and dirt and dust, debris all around the window. So I had to go back and try to make it right. Then I'm trying to detail it again, and I didn't know what I didn't know, and I just kind of had to learn. And turns out the School of Hard Knocks is one of the best teachers you can find, and it makes it so that your growth curve goes faster. So when I began to realize some of the things I didn't know, I was able to then search and find someone to teach me. I was aware that I had a lot of shortcomings, and I didn't try to hide that. I try to get a job as a window cleaner, and I go, and he says, okay, well, go ahead, and we'll give you 1 day, you try out. I needed a certain amount to survive as far as income went, so we had a little brief discussion. I didn't want to work for minimum wage, so I spent that day working for free. Find out there's this thing called steel wool, and you need to use that on every single window, especially if the windows hadn't been cleaned. In this case, I did. So one of the other guys gave me a handful of steel wool and said, here, just make sure you use this after you scrub the glass with water. Make sure it's nice and soapy, and use this before it dries out. and then you can squeegee after that. So I started picking things up. He showed me how to clean the screens. I didn't know how to do that either. I didn't even know you're supposed to clean the screens. And so at the end of the day, they sit down with me and they say, hey, look, you're obviously a rookie. You don't know what you're doing yet, but I can pay you, I think at the time it was like $15 an hour. And I'm like, you know, I appreciate it, but I understand where you're coming from, but I need more than that to survive, so I'm going to decline the offer. But I was able to pick up a few pointers along the way, and I was able to learn more things that I didn't know. It's, you know, they're called blind spots because you don't know, and when you first start out, there's a lot that you don't know. So I was able to learn from each mistake, though. I was able to get better and perfect my craft, and, you know, especially early on, every customer complaint becomes another opportunity to learn. So I embraced that, and I would try to walk around with the customer, and, you know, sometimes they get annoyed by it because they didn't want to have to look at every piece of glass. They just wanted to go about their day and trust that the windows were clean. And so sometimes it'd be a couple weeks later, I'd get a call back, hey, I think you missed this window. And I started realizing I need to have a system so that I don't miss a window, so that when I'm going around the house, I don't just skip around randomly, but I stay in order, one window at a time, one room at a time, and I have a process and a system. So I started learning little things that I needed to work into my routine and work into my systems, and, you know, find out what a system was. I didn't know what a system was. I didn't know what the SOP, systems, operations, and procedures. I didn't know what that was. So as I was learning, I would start to Google things and try to find videos about how to do different things. And as I'm doing that, I'm beginning to grow my vocabulary and understand a little bit more of different things that I need to know. You don't know what to look for early on. So just take a risk, do something. Same thing happened with marketing. The first time I did a marketing campaign, or as far as direct mail, I didn't know about split testing, that's where you take two mailers and you do a test run with them and see which one has a better result in a similar type of neighborhood. Maybe the one with the blue background is better. Maybe the one with the white background is better. Maybe one photo works better than another. And I didn't know that, so I just went all in. I didn't even know that you should hit each address multiple times to get the best result. I just said, hey, I'll order a bunch of postcards and I'll send them all. And, you know, my first thing, I would go hand them out door to door, and I didn't get any callbacks because it was just basically, a colorful looking flyer that said my name and window washing, and no pictures, just simply a phone number to call. And I learned that didn't work well. So I had to look up what could I do to make a postcard that works better. And as I began to develop and find the right things to look for and self-educate and find other people who could educate me better, or people online and people who've written books, I was able to grow and to where eventually I could get almost 1% response. You know, every 100 flyers you put out, you get a call. And then how do you close more of those and start learning about sales and how to do consultative sales, not to be too pushy, but to help them kind of find the right fit for them, make them feel like they're making the decision. And so whether it's cleaning glass or marketing and growing a business or hiring somebody and figuring out how to legally make sure they get paid in an appropriate manner, all these things, nobody just knows these things just naturally. You have to have some place where you discover it, where you're educated and you learn. And a lot of times you don't know what you need to learn until you start, and you start finding flaws, gaps, little chinks in your armor that need to be fixed up. And so all that only comes from taking risks. You know, you can go through an academy where they're going to teach you a comprehensive guide and you pick up everything you think you can know and you think you're good to go, and that's helpful. You'll bypass a lot of struggles and a lot of problems that way. And if you can find a coach or somebody to mentor you, that will help you so that they maybe can identify some of your blind spots before they come to bite you. But regardless of whatever type of background you have or whatever type of help you have to grow, sometimes the only way you're going to learn or even find your own flaws is by putting yourself in a place where there's extra pressure, where there's going to be a higher demand for you to be better. And when you get in that environment, you'll be surprised how much stronger you can become in the long run. So while the school of hard knocks isn't always fun, use that as an opportunity so that you can fail forward and you can grow and find the motivation through the challenges so that you can continue to become better as a person, as a leader, as an individual, and just from there, the sky's the limit. So I just want to encourage you guys to find those opportunities to mistake your way into success. And by the way, guys, I want to be a help for you to maybe avoid some of the pitfalls that I fell into. So if you want to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and also comment below some of the questions you might have. Don't ever hesitate to reach out to me. I want to be a resource to as many guys as I can, or gals if you happen to be watching. And let's start communicating more. Reach out to me and let me know how I can help you. If there's a specific question that you have, I'm here for you. I want to answer in any way that I can. There's a lot of ways that I'm still growing right now as I try to scale my business. And so let's work together and see how far we can go. And you guys keep growing, and we'll see you around the next time.